I'm Amy, and welcome back to Life. Am I right? This will be my first full episode on this podcast, and it's gonna be a dark one, I have to say. So, I'm gonna put like a little trigger at the front, things surrounding death and grieving and stuff like that. If that's not something you're comfortable with, then you're free to click off, but that's what this will be about. If you want to grab your blankets and a drink, because this is going to be a low one. um, so, grief. It's a complicated topic to talk about, and not a lot of people like talking about it, but it's something that needs to be spoken about more, and people need to feel like they can grieve and that it's safe to do so. For me, right now, I'm in the depth of grieving. Last year, on October 4th, my mum passed away, and it is truly the hardest thing I've ever been through. It still is. It's only been about 4.5 months, so not long at all, and completely unexpected. So, not something I think that I thought I would have to go through for a long time, but here we are. So, and this is my first time really being in the process of grieving anyone. It's all extremely new to me, and kind of navigating how to get through it is completely new. So, my mum was my best friend. She was everything to me, and she just lit up every room. She could talk for Scotland, is what we always say here. She just was a light in the dark, is what I would say. She was so funny. She always made you laugh about everything. I've been through a lot of different life experiences, and she's always had a solution to everything, and when you're young, it's like, your parents embarrass you and you're like, oh no, I can't do this, and then you get to an age where you're actually like, I want to hang around with my parents, like I want to talk to them and like phone them all the time. And that's the stage that I was at. I was like, I was always phoning them and like texting them to check in, and like I half kind of stay with my partner and at my house, so it was like, if I wasn't at my house, I was on the phone to mum and dad all the time. So, you get to that point in life where you're actually like, these are okay people, they're cool. So, yeah, she just was unique. So it has been extremely difficult, and going through grieving while also I'm at college, doing counselling and mental health. So it's convenient actually, but was a struggle. Took some time off, but I managed to come back and finish my assessments and do everything that I had to do. And it could have been very easy for me to walk away and not complete it, but I knew that she would want me to finish it, as this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I did because of her, because she always told me that I'd be really good at listening and helping others, since I kind of know, a lot of the different mental health subjects I've been involved in. So, she just always thought that I would be good at helping people. So, and I'm a very shy person, so it's a little complicated, but it's working so far, and I've gotten, I've done quite well, and I'm just going to keep going, because I'm in my second semester right now, and yeah, so I think going through grieving, being at college, it was also coming up on Christmas. All of it was just happening at once, and it was very overwhelming and very scary. I have a good support system. I have my dad and my brother. I have my partner and my best friend. They have all been absolutely amazing. I don't think I'd get through this without any of them here. So I owe a lot to them for dealing with me over the past couple of months. Because even to this day, it's totally unpredictable. Like yesterday, for instance, I was supposed to go up to my partner's house, and I made it like halfway, and I had to go home because a huge wave of sadness just hit me, and I couldn't understand like why, because nothing had happened, nothing triggered it. It just happened, but I listened to myself and I listened to my heart and just thought, I need an extra day at home with my family, and then I can go tomorrow, which I did, and I have. But there's days like those where it just makes no sense as to why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, and then it kind of hits me sometimes like, oh, my mum's dead. Like, that wee voice in your head just keeps reminding you all the time, and it's fantastic. No, it's not. It's just, it'll hit you again at most random moments. I'll be sitting in class and it'll just hit me, and it's like, really? give me a couple of days just to feel okay. So yeah, I think that grief is uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about and admit that they're grieving. A lot of people also think that grief only lasts a certain amount of time. Like, oh, she passed 4 months ago. Like, you need to move on and get on with life. And it's like, I am, but that pain doesn't just go away. Like, it doesn't just fade. And I think some people struggle to understand that, especially if they haven't dealt with it themselves, and that it could be years from now and I'll still be grieving. I'll always be grieving. That is the whole point. Grief doesn't have a timeline. And it's funny because I did this in college not even a month after she passed, and we did grief and loss, and grief is a timeline, but it's not, it doesn't have to go in order. It can be a very mixed up timeline. You could go from stage 1 to 6 to then 4 to then 3 to then 5. It doesn't just go all the way through all the stages and then you're done. Each stage can hit you years down the line. So I think people need to be a bit more, open-minded when it comes to grief and how people deal with it. Everyone deals with grief differently. I thought I would have dealt with it differently, but I think having the support I have around me, and having college and stuff like that to go to, it kind of kept me going a little bit instead of feeling like I had to kind of hide away. But there is some days where I still do that though, and I just kind of want to be alone and think about that person and kind of just remember them. So again, that's why I kind of made this podcast, not mainly for this topic, but because I wanted to share my story, and I wanted to share that even though it is bad right now, it's not going to be like this forever, and there are days that prove that, where I can go a full day and, remember them, but not be sad about it, I can talk about them and smile and remember the good times and not make it a sad thing. And then there are other days that aren't, so it does prove that things can get better. It's just, it looks really dark right now, and if anyone out there is going through this, it is extremely difficult. And I'm not going to say the things that everyone always says, like, they're in a better place and blah blah blah, because it's, when you're grieving, that doesn't really mean much. All that kind of means to you is like, well, I thought here was better, like being here with me. But my mum was in a lot of pain. She had a lot of, body pain all the time. She was in pain all the time, and so that kind of puts me at ease knowing that she isn't in any pain anymore and that she's at peace. But yeah, that's kind of the only thing that is good about it, in the sense of she doesn't have to be in pain anymore, but everything else sucks about grief, not gonna lie. And you're allowed to feel how you feel, you're allowed to grieve how you want to grieve, and yeah, That's, that's the thing about it, is that it's very personal to each person. Like, nobody grieves the same. It's personal to every single person. The relationship they had with that person is different for everyone. So it just really depends on, how you cope with it and how it affects you and what it does to you mentally. Because it doesn't just affect you mentally, grief, it affects you physically as well. And I didn't even really know that until like a couple of weeks ago, I think. I saw someone talking about it, and it is true in the sense of, it can make you not want to eat, not want to talk to anyone, not want to do anything. Some days you just freeze if somebody talks about something, whether it's something to do with death or specifically about their mum, and you have like a physical reaction to it, and that's definitely a strange one. But for me, I've grown up with like depression and anxiety, and so I've had a lot of physical reactions to all of that, which I actually didn't know was relating to that, but it does. And I'm finding these things out as I grow, and that's what we do. And I've been on antidepressants now for just over a year, which for me is a big accomplishment. And that has helped me tremendously. I know it doesn't help everybody, but it was kind of like I was running out of options and I didn't really know what else to do. And I tried antidepressants, and they are working. I've upped them since a month ago. Obviously due to what's been happening, my mental health has took kind of a dive, so I upped them a little bit, and they've been working. And yeah, I couldn't, not recommend them, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like I'm glad that I started that journey. My anxiety was the worst out of everything, so definitely now I'm out of the kind of trenches of my anxiety and depression. It's now just more grief that takes over everything. So if I'm sad, it's normally about my mum, and that's kind of really it. Obviously I've got stress with college and things like that, but it doesn't make me sad. The only thing that does is missing my mum. So yeah, that's kind of just, it's hard to talk about, but I've gotten to a stage where I can talk about it and not get truly upset by it. I can talk about her in a good way. That's all I want to do, is talk about her. And it's hard because a lot of the time people will be like, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, and then move on because they don't really know what to say. But it's like, all I want is to talk about her. I want to talk about how good she was and all the stories that she used to tell me. Like, if she was here right now, I would have definitely done this podcast with, like, had her on. And we'd have been here for hours because the amount of stories that she could tell, and we heard the stories over and over again, but we always listened like it was the first time, because the way she would talk about it, she was so happy about some of the memories that she had, and just the way she used to live her life was amazing, and the things that she'd been through and saw and seen, and it was all just really amazing. And like, that's the thing, I'm never going to hear those stories again, and it's that kind of hits you slowly. Because a couple of weeks ago I actually found a voicemail that she'd left me, and I didn't know that it was there. I just saw videos, I think it was on TikTok, of people gifting other people like bears and stuff that have their voice in them, their loved one's voice in them. And I thought, I wish I had a video of her voice, and I thought, I'll check my voicemail just in case there happens to be something there, and there was. And I listened to it and I just broke down, because I was like, it'd been about 3 months at that point since I'd heard her voice, and it was just such a shock to the system hearing her voice again, because it's not something you really think about, of like, I'm never gonna hug them again, I'm never gonna talk to them again, or like hear their voice. And I think those things gradually hit you, they don't hit you all at once. Also, I want to add in a little bit of advice on, how I've coped and kind of what's helped So I'd say that coping wise, I think by just remembering them and doing things for them. So like this, for instance, I'm doing this for her. My college work, I put it in her name because, you know, I could have easily, like I said, I could have easily given up and walking away, and it wouldn't have been an issue because people would have understood why, but I wanted to do it for her because I knew how proud she would have been and how proud she was of me doing this course in the first place. And I knew that by me completing it, I was also going to make her proud. She'd have been proud no matter what I did, but you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to do it to make her proud and to continue what I started when she was here. I think coping is, for me, I used to hide away all the time when I felt bad, but now I've kind of matured and learned that being around people actually helps. And sometimes you don't even need to talk to people, even just being in the same room as someone but being quiet. Like me and my partner, for instance, sometimes we'll be together. Like right now he's downstairs, I think he's playing his game. He was doing some theory tests practice, but he'll be downstairs playing his game and I'll be upstairs doing this or doing some college work or watching TV. Like, we'll be in the same presence but not actually together, and that can really help because it's like you're having your alone time well knowing that there's someone there to talk to if you need them. Or even being in the same room as them. Like sometimes we'll be in the same room and we'll both be on our phones and we'll just sit there for like a good half an hour just scrolling or whatever, doing whatever. And it's like it gives you that kind of alone time without having to talk or feel the pressure to talk, but also know that they're there if you want to turn around and say something, you know. Or like if I'm in my house, I'll go downstairs and sit with my dad, or we'll watch a movie together, and it'll kind of just bring us both together because obviously we're both grieving this and we're both going through this, and we can obviously relate to how each other feels because he's been through this a lot more than I have, but with this specific thing we can both relate to losing the same person, and the pain is very much the same. But yeah, I think I've learned a lot since I was younger. I think if I'd been younger I would have probably hid away, and even like the topic of like sometimes it can be hard to admit, and I think it's hard for me to admit, is that you kind of want to go down a path that isn't healthy for anyone. Like for instance, like a wee while ago all I could think about was like drinking alcohol, and that was it, and I wanted to be drinking all the time. I never, because I'm poor, but I didn't because I knew the consequences of that, and I didn't want to go down that path. But it doesn't mean the feelings aren't there to do that kind of thing, whether it's drinking, smoking, drugs, anything like that. And it causes escapism, and it means that you don't have to deal with the pain or the problem, but the problem and the pain is still there the next day, but you're not thinking about the next day, you're just thinking about right now and how I'm feeling in this moment and needing the pain to go away. And those thoughts can come, but again, it's just been strong enough to be like, no, because the consequences are worse than what you're actually going through, and you're just adding problems to your original issue. But sometimes, again, that's easier said than done. But I knew as well that, like, imagine how she would feel about that, and she would hate the thought of me going down that road. And also, like, my family that are still here, I'd be putting them through, you know, a lot more than they should have to go through if I chose that road. But yeah, I think that now I've matured a bit and I've gotten to the stage of realising that others are there to help you if you have a good support system around you, and asking for help when you need it is something I never used to do either. Like, I'd sit and struggle like all the time and just not admit that I needed the help. It wasn't really because I didn't want to seem like I couldn't do something, I just was shy and I just genuinely could not ask for help. But I've definitely again gotten to that point now where I can help, like ask for help, and you know, kind of push for it even a little bit, because like in college we get counsellors, because we're doing a counselling course it can be kind of rough sometimes, and we get access to counsellors in college to talk to, but I put in something for it a wee while ago and I never heard anything back, but eventually I managed to speak to somebody and get it sorted. So yeah, I took things upon myself, which is not something I'd ever think I'd do, because it's like, I don't want to put myself out there, I don't want to put myself forward for anything and then have to actually go through with it, because it's like the idea of getting help is good, then the actual going through with it is the hard part. Trust me. But I've done it many times now, and it's something that you're going to have to do, and just push and advocate for yourself, advocate for your mental health, advocate for how you feel, and if you really need help, go get it. It can be difficult, again, with, you know, the fact that some people just don't want to admit it, men especially, and it's a pandemic of that, and the fact that men struggle in privacy and they can't admit that they need help because they think that it makes them weak, or that people will make fun of them, or they'll be embarrassed. No, just no. It's extremely normal, and it needs to be spoken about more and advocated for more in today's society. And this, again, it's not just women that struggle, everybody struggles, everybody on this planet struggles. And yeah, it just it gets me really like just uptight, because it's just, I'm only one voice, you know. But yeah, that's kind of how I've like coped, I'd say, just getting out there and like spending time with people. My friend, she has a baby and she's adorable, she's just amazing, and like spending time with my friend and her wee baby girl is just something that brightens up my day every time I go around to see them. I see my partner quite a lot, he's just amazing. And the next thing I was going to talk about is being in a relationship while grieving is difficult, and it's not something I've ever had to do or have done or never thought I'd have to do. But because I was actually with my partner at the time when I found out about my mum, I was staying at my partner's for the night, and I got a phone call in the morning, and that's kind of when it happened. And from that moment on, he's been absolutely amazing and been so patient, so helpful. Like, he doesn't know how to do this, he didn't sign up for this, I didn't sign up for this, but we signed up for us, you know, we signed up to be together, so therefore we sign up for everything that comes with it. And this just happens to be something that has hit us right now. We've been together for about 10 months now, so it's quite a long time. And so we're good together, we're strong, and yeah, he's been an absolute angel in everything that he's done, and he's given me all the time in the world that I needed. If I, you know, needed to stay at home for a bit longer, he's been absolutely fine about that. And some days I've just been like, you know, I need to go home, like I don't feel good, I just need to be at home with my dad, and he's been absolutely amazing, you know. And he's like, it's fully okay for you to do that. And you know, I've been in past relationships where that wouldn't have went down so easy, and to think about that is just like, ugh, no. To think someone would be angry at you for wanting to go home or for missing someone that's passed away is insane. But I know that that's out there, and I know that not everybody's fortunate enough to have a partner like mine and a good person. And I just really hope that people find that person for them, because as someone who's been in a toxic relationship, it is absolutely horrific, and it's horrific to your mental health. And I didn't even realise what was happening until I was out, like long out, and I was like, oh my god, like what was I doing, like why was I in that situation? But again, I look back at it now and I'm like, okay, like what are you gonna do? Like, it's done, it's over, and I'm with someone now who would never in a million years dream of ever treating me the way they did, and I know that for a fact. But yeah, so, but nobody talks about the, like, what it's like to be with a person when you're grieving, and like the sacrifices you have to make and the patience that is required, and it's not the same really, because I definitely know that there's two different versions of me. There's the before and the after, and they're very different people. I think now nothing really bothers me as much. I feel like I'm not scared of anything anymore when it comes to like things that I used to be scared of, like presentations in college and going to appointments and stuff like that. Like, nothing bothers me, because I think, what's worse than what I've just been through? I've felt the worst pain that I've ever felt in my life. What can be worse than that? Like, a presentation? Nah, it's easy now. Like, I have been through one of the hardest things I'll ever go through, so nothing else can really compare. Nothing else can really come close to that feeling. So, in a way, it gives me that kind of lack of, fear in the ways I used to feel I was really anxious about things. But now it's just like, I don't really care as much, if that's a way to put it. It's like you go through a phase of not caring, and you're just like, even angry sometimes, and you're just filled with so many different emotions. But the main one is just that I don't bother as much with things. I don't bother as much with drama or anything, because I'm like, I genuinely have felt the worst I can possibly feel. I don't think it could get worse than this right now, so don't stress about it. Just don't. But yeah, so I'm sorry if I'm just like rambling on. I'm really new to this and I'm trying my best. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to speak about with this episode. And just, if you're going through this, it's okay, and you are gonna be okay. And I know probably heard that a lot, but you will, and it will get better, and time does truly heal all. Again, it's been nearly 5 months since my mum passed away, and that's insane. And the fact that I have to say last year, because it happened to happen 2 months before the new year, or about 3 months, sorry, is weird. But for me, 5 months is a long time, but it's also not a long time. I feel like the longer it gets, the harder it actually gets. It doesn't get easier with, like, I don't really know how to say it. It's like time does heal, but a lot of time. Because I'm going to be honest, like, it doesn't heal within a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It won't. And I feel like a piece of me will always be broken. Because when you lose someone that's so close to you, it just will never, like, truly heal. But it does get better, and it gets easier to deal with and to cope with. And yeah, I'd definitely say having a good support system around you, having a way to get help if you need it, any kind of counselling, therapy, grief counselling. There's a lot of different things online for it. A lot of different kind of online chats and online websites that you can go to for grief counselling. But yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna do another couple episodes about grief. I might. Just kind of seeing if there's anything else that I really want to talk about, because this is my life right now, and that's kind of what this whole podcast is about. It's about me, my life, just daily things, and some things might relate to others, some might not. I know grief can relate to a lot of people, and it can be a hard thing to talk about and a hard thing to deal with, and I just want to put that out there. I hope everyone is okay and listened the whole way through, and if you did make it to this point, thank you so much for being here and listening. I hope to make the next one maybe a bit cheerier for you guys. But thank you so much for listening and just being here. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Love you guys.